Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. It's a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express. The important news and editorial that will be relevant for the preparation of civil services examination will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with the news topic list. Today is 3rd of March, the first important news, that is India-Italy ties elevated to the strategic partnership. Second, GDP growth may beat 7% current fiscal year. This is statement coming from the Chief Economic Advisor. Third, India-China discuss LAC situation. It's an ongoing discussion between India and China to stabilize the region. Second last, Supreme Court formed expert committee to probe Adani allegations. A recent report by Hindenburg has raised a concern about that. And the last is an editorial, more independent commission, a brilliant editorial that will give you an insight about the requirement for the composition that is required for the appointment of the election commissions or chief election commission precisely. Apart from the news and editorial discussion, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ based questions. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. So without any further delay, let's get started. And before I begin this session, those of you who are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful, do not forget to press a like button. And brief about the prelims marathon. We'll be organizing the All India Open Mock Test starting from 5th of March. Those of you who have not yet registered yourself, do check it out. The video description link, जहाँ से आप directly register कर पाएंगे. And it's a very important initiative. You'll be provided with All India ranking. And this is a 360-degree UPSC prelims experience with their stimulations for examination environment. A detailed solution will also be provided. And you can learn a lot when you practice. And even the initiative is something that is meant to enhance your level of preparation. It will cover both general studies, paper 1 and paper 2. Their citing offers for top 3 rankers and cash prize will also be there. For more details, you can refer to our websites and register yourself and grab this opportunity free of cost. Now, moving ahead with the first news, that is India-Italy ties elevated to strategic partnership, something important for general studies paper 2 under the subtopic, that is effect of policies and politics of developed and developing countries on India's interest and India's diaspora. So India and Italy have decided to elevate the bilateral ties to a strategic partnership, opening a new chapter on defense cooperations. So recently, the Italy Prime Minister is on a visit to India, and she has visited India on 8th Raisina dialogue as a chief spokesperson. Even for the keynote, will be given by her. So it's something very important at this juncture where India and Italy is reviving their bilateral relations. The announcement was made by the Prime Minister after holding a comprehensive talks with the Italian counterpart. And the Prime Minister of Italy is on a 2-day visit to India as a chief guest to the 8th Raisina dialogue. Now, what is Raisina dialogue? Something specifically relevant for prelims examination. For many other government examination, there can be a direct question. So precisely talking about the 8th Raisina dialogue, the Prime Minister of Italy, while delivering the inaugural address of the 8th Raisina dialogue, has said that a global interconnection will enable our economies to grow and flourish, and even call for, especially at that time where there is international turbulence in the community. No, precisely she was focusing on the part of Ukraine and Russia. So the turmoil that is ongoing. So the war in Ukraine, she said that's a violation of fundamental principle that is going, and even enable the international community to thrive. Now, what is Raisina dialogue? If you precisely look into the part, it is a dialogue which is organized by the Observer Research Foundation. This is a think tank which is aided by Government of India, and this is done in collaboration with Ministry of External Affairs, जो हमारे विदेश मंत्रालय that actually organizes this part. So Raisina Dialogue is a platform where the leaders across the globe come and share their views on important international issues and the areas that is a priority. The conference is structured as a multi-stake cross-sectoral discussion where variety of issues which include global policy making, the head of states is the participant of this, cabinet ministers और local government के officials को भी इनमें participants की जाती है. So this is something important. A brainstorming session is being organized to discuss the important issues concerning the global point. Now, some important strategic partnership that were the part of India and Italy. Recent strategic partnership की अगर बात करें, कुछ important core areas पे ध्यान दी गई है. We'll see everything one by one. The first among them is defense cooperations. Defense is something which India has put impetus upon. So India has invited Italy defense companies to actively participate in Make in India initiative, and India has categorically noted the point that Make in India initiative in the defense sector is something very important for India. Both India and Italy have decided to hold joint exercises, training courses between the armed forces of two countries. So meanwhile, we'll see some of the exercise that will be started. The two countries also agreed to work together for irregular migrations and human trafficking as well. Now, Indo-Pacific initiatives की अगर बात करें, this is again something very important and you should take a note. Those of you who are having PSIR as an optional, जिन बच्चों के PSIR सब्जेक्ट ऑप्शनल है, जिन एस्पिरेंट्स के, उन्हें ये ध्यान देने की जरूरत है. आप इस तरह की चीजों को एग्जाम्पल्स में जरूर लिखेंगे. So in basically in the Indo-Pacific Ocean Initiative, the Prime Minister of Italy has announced that Italy will be joining Indo-Pacific Ocean Initiative as two nations will celebrating 75 years of their bilateral relationship. So it's a juncture where both countries want to augment their relations further. Now, money laundering and money terror financing की अगर बात करें, so this is again something concerning. Both India and Italy have agreed to stress upon the point for potential risks that is associated with virtual asset. अगर virtual assets की बात करें, the first point that kept is a bitcoins, right? Bitcoins यहाँ पे आप example ले सकते हैं. There are other virtual currency that is operating. New financial technology may be asserted for the purposes of money laundering and financing terrorism. Right? There's a specific report by FATF where they blacklist and graylist the countries. We're not getting into detail of that. So both India and Italy have agreed to take steps to ensure the virtual assets subject to anti-money laundering, counter-financing, terrorism and regulations. Now, space cooperation was also on the agenda of discussions. So India and Italy have also agreed to expand the collaborations in space sector. Bilateral exchange की गई है, कुछ important potential possibilities और research area को highlight की गई. Among them, the first is remote sensing, where a lot of thing has been done by India in the recent time. चाहे वो INS की बात हो, even Indian National Navigation Satellites से उनकी बात की जाए, we have a lot more things that we have come across in the remote sensing. Satellite communications में भी बहुत सारी progress हुई है. Lunar explorations में collaboration की जाएगी between India and Italy, and even gravitational wave detections and practical implication of space technology between ISRO and ASI, which is an apex institution in Italy. Now, the fifth is declaration of intent on migration and mobility. So India and Italy has signed the declaration of intent on migration and mobility to announce the establishment of startup bridge to tap a linked memorandum of understanding MOU sign की गई है between different institutions. So between Rabindra Bharati University Calcutta and Italian Consulate General will be collaborating on one part. Another is Morarji Desai Institute of Yoga and Sarva Yoga International Italy. So this is on the part of migrations and mobility. Now, moving to the other news, that is GDP growth may beat 7% of the current financial year, something important for General Studies Paper 3 under the subtopic of General Studies, that is Indian economy and issues related to planning, mobilization, resource growth and development. So recently, the Chief Economic Advisor has expressed hope about the GDP growth, and for the current financial year, it will exceed the projected 7% in a view that is expected to have a revision of high frequency data. So basically the performance of Indian economy in a longer run has been improving. Post COVID अगर बात करें, sectoral improvement देखी गई है बहुत सारे sectors में, and even if you talk about the IIP ranking and other core sector, they have performed well, right? So the latest advanced estimate, which was there by the NSO, that is National Statistical Office, have maintained a growth projection of 7% and was projected in the first advanced estimate was released in January. Now more about the report, there are some data which is there. आपको कुछ trend पता रखने for your examination purposes. You have to only understand the trend that how it is actually functioning, right? So at constant price, real GDP or GDP at constant price की बात करें, the year 2022 and 23 is estimated to be valued around 159.71 trillion as against the revised GDP of 149.26, right? And according to the NSO data, the real GDP during 2023 is estimated to be around 7% to 9.1% in 2021. The growth slowed to 4.4% in October-December quarter, mainly due to the contraction of the manufacturing sector. So this is about the sectors and the overall performance of the real GDP and GDP at the constant prices. Now, interest rate is something which the Chief Economic Advisor, that CAA, has emphasized. He said that the rising interest rate need not necessarily be a cause of lower growth, but simply reflects the fact that there is a health underlying demand of credit, right? And on the economic benefit of digitalization, he said that the digital transition has enabled the increase of formations, right? And in the rural inflations की अगर बात करें, specifically focusing upon the rural inflations, the chief economic advisor has said it does not take into account the fact is that the population may be getting food grain at zero cost, because recently government ने जो अंत्योदय योजना है उसकी एक्सटेंशन की है और फ्री फूड ग्रेन टिल दिसंबर तक देने की बात की है. Now moving to the other news, that is India China discuss LSE situation, something important for general studies paper 2 under the subtopic that is India and its neighborhood relations. So recently, the External Affairs Minister of India has held talk with the Chinese counterpart, and the meeting is precisely focuses upon the challenges which is there in terms of the bilateral relationship, and especially calling for the peace and tranquility in the border area. We have seen in the recent time, not the recent time, it's close to past 2 years when the LSE में हमने काफी ज़्यादा tussles देखा है, and there's a lot of things that has not improved despite the proactive efforts taken by the government of India. The discussion were on the sideline of G20 minister meeting, where China के जो ministers हैं, their participation was there, and this is 34-month long discussion that has took place after the escalation that has taken place. Now, India's stand on bilateral relations. India ने कुछ चीजों को clear किया है. अगर if things are not working out, India will be not moving ahead with establishing a close relationship with China. तो India ने categorically ये कहा that they will be maintaining the tie only that things is clear in the border area. जब वहाँ पे stability होगी तभी इंडिया आगे किसी diplomatic relations को आगे बढ़ाएगी. And this was made during the external affairs visit to Bali in the sidelines of G20 meeting, which was held in the year last year, close to that previous. अभी जब इंडिया प्रेसिडेंसी करी, इससे पहले इंडोनेशिया ने G20 की प्रेसिडेंसी की थी, उस टाइम भी ये मीटिंग में बातें इंडिया ने कैटेगोरिकली रखा था. और 3 बात की गई है, स्पेसिफिकली 3 mutual. There are 3 mutual that has to be followed with letter and spirit, and the first was mutual respect, second is mutual sensitivity and mutual interest. So if these are followed, then only India can go ahead with establishing a relationship with China. Now, process of disengagement, this has been long due. कुछ disengagement हो रही है कई जगह, the progress has not yet been made. So the decision was taken on the 16th round of the talks, where 2 sides have agreed for the disengagement from the patrolling point 15 and Gorkha hot spring in September last year. The fish-off were there by the military forces in Demchok and Deepsang region, right, on the part where disengagement remained the friction point at the earliest. And the meeting took place with a working group of consultation and coordination on India-China's borders affair. So this is again our apex body which is taking care for the entire gamut of discussion that is taking place between India and China. Now, moving to the other news, Supreme Court forms an expert committee to probe Adani allegations. Although from civil services point of view, examination point of view, we are discussing this news to understand the interference, not actually the interference, but the role, the proactive role of the Supreme Court, their ambit, and how the machinery work in India. So this is precisely to give you an hand-on experience on that. Something important for general studies paper 2, that is structure, organization, and function of executive and judiciary. So recently, the Supreme Court India has constituted an expert committee under the supervision of the Supreme Court Judge Justice A.M. Sapre to review the market regulatory mechanism in light of Adani Hindenburg controversy. So the name of the judge is important for many other government examination. कोई भी और government examination अगर आप appear कर रहे हैं, this will be helpful for them. Now, Hindenburg report was published. It's a US firm that has reported about the shell companies operating their IPOs. No fraud that is there. Still, we cannot comment. It's under disputed. Still, the court is monitoring the entire part. So we are more concerned about the news. So the apex court has first 2-month deadline उन्होंने रखा है, जहाँ पे सिक्योरिटी और एक्सचेंज बोर्ड को ये डायरेक्ट की गई है कि आप 2 महीने में सारे एलिगेशंस को प्रूव करें जो भी क्लेम की गई है बाय द अमेरिकन इन्वेस्टमेंट रिसर्च फर्म Hindenburg. Now, the court has noted that the Security Exchange Board of India, that is SEBI, was already investigation and allegations of Hindenburg research. तो इससे पहले भी SEBI ने cognizance लिया है और उसकी investigation start कर दी है. Now, what Supreme Court has categorically said कि ये सारे process को expedite करके 2 months में complete करें. Now, Supreme Court के कुछ specific directions दिए गए in this regard. The first, that the expert committee should assess the factor leading to the volatility of security market. Second is to investigate the regulatory framework in dealing with the allegations against Adani Group. Third है suggestions regarding to the strength of the statutory and regulatory framework, and SEBI to prove the violation of its rule, and other is whether the failure to disclose the transactions related to parties can be done. So these are the broad spectrum of direction that is coming out from the Honorable Supreme Court. Now there's a specific rule, that is Rule 19 of the Security Contract Regulation Act 1957. It talks about the maintenance of the minimum public shareholding and its allotment and its attainment within a specific period. तो सारी चीजें रूल्स और प्रोविजंस के अकॉर्डिंगली सेबी उसे चेक करेगी एंड द रिपोर्ट विल बी फाइल्ड बिफोर द ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट. Now, moving to the editorial of the day, a brilliant editorial that will give you an insight about the appointment for the Chief Election Commission. The title of the editorial is More Independent Commission, something important for General Studies Paper 2 under the subtopic, that is the structure, organization, functions of executive and judiciary. So what will be the issues under this editorial? First, talking about the theme. The theme is issues related to the appointment of Election Commission of India. You can see ECI, right? And the background, we'll see the background part. Constitutional क्या provisions हैं, bone of contention क्या है इस particular judgment की, जो Supreme Court ने recently एक petition को address करते हुए किया. Concern and challenges and the way forward. So recently, the Constitutional Bench of the Supreme Court, right, have ordered that the Election Commission of India will be appointed by the President of India on a committee consisting of a Prime Minister, Leader of Oppositions, and the Chief Justice of India. Very significant order by the Supreme Court, where it was hearing a plea filed by an individual, right? And they have categorically asked that the apex body for the Election Commission of India, which is designed and constituted for the conducting of election for a largest democracy in the world, और उसकी जो appointment की process है, that is not that designed way, it's not in that official manner. So they have categorically asked कि कुछ recommendations दिए और committee बननी चाहिए ताकि इसके पूरे appointment process को monitor किया जा सके. Something very important, I personally feel, when the appointment of other important bodies like CBI and CBC, अगर बात करें CBI की, and even for the Chief Vigilance Commissioner, there's already a set of protocol that has to be followed. Then why not for the Election Commission of India? It's a very important thing that has come up by the Supreme Court, and you as an aspirant of civil services examination, you can expect a direct question in the mains examination. Be rest assured कि यहाँ से जरूर आपसे मेंस में सवाल पूछे जाएंगे, and there can be a question in the prelims also, right? सो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने क्लियर कर दिया एक कमेटी बनाने की जरूरत पड़ेगी जिसके 3 मेंबर्स होंगे, प्राइम मिनिस्टर, लीडर ऑफ अपोजिशन इन लोकसभा विद द लार्जेस्ट अपोजिशन पार्टी एंड द चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया. So 3 members, and there's a significant judgment that is coming out of the way with regards to the implementation. And ये जो judgment आई है सुप्रीम कोर्ट की तरफ से, ये एक बार एक era of judicial activism की बात करती है फिर से. Now क्या क्या constitutional provisions है अगर बात करें इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया को लेकर के, देयर आर 5 आर्टिकल्स विच इज एलोकेटेड फ्रॉम आर्टिकल 324 to 329. अलग अलग आर्टिकल्स में अलग प्रोविजंस दिए गए. आई एम नॉट डिस्कसिंग द डिटेल पार्ट बिकॉज यू कैन रीड दैट फ्रॉम लक्ष्मीकांत. इट इज मेंशन ओवर देयर, यू जस्ट चेक इट आउट विथ योर बुक. तो आर्टिकल 324 वेस्ट करती है विथ रिगार्ड्स टू द सुपरिटेंडेंस, डायरेक्शंस, कंट्रोल ऑफ elections for the elections commission consisting of the chief election commissioners and the other 2 election commissioners. Now, the constitution does not let the specific legislature with regards to the appointment of the chief election commissioners and election commissioners. सिर्फ ये बताई गई है कि जो president of India है उनके पास ये prerogative है, he or she can appoint the on the advice of the ministers headed by the prime minister, the appointment is made of the election commission of India. Now, the bone of contention है petition जो file की गई सुप्रीम कोर्ट पे, that was as per the article 342. It says that the appointment of chief election commissioners through made by the president is done away and law can be promulgated. But no law yet has been made in this regard. ये कही गई थी कि एक लॉ बनाने की जरूरत है, पूरी regulations आने की जरूरत है कि कैसे अपॉइंटमेंट हो, but there was nothing progress made. Therefore, the petitioner has pleaded for an independent body to appointment for the issues to ensure the functional autonomy of the panel. Now, कुछ concerns और challenges की अगर बात करें, that is something important. Now, according to the provisions of Article 324(5), जो protections दी जाती है for the removal of chief election commissioner is not extended or immunity to the election commissioner. तो same जो election commission of India को दी जाती है is not with the election commissioners. So why it is not there? This is again the one dispute, or you can say the bone of contention. The concern has been raised. The chief election commissioners can be removed on the same ground as the judges are there. So it makes it impossible for them because वहाँ पे 2/3 of majority अगर चाहिए होगी, तो then that will be not there, right? Now the same says that the condition of the services of the election commissioners shall be there with a disadvantage for the appointment, and the immunity granted to the election commissioner loses power in selections with valid arbitration of favoritism. तो कई ऐसे members होंगे जो काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर के फेवर करेंगे अपने प्रेसिडेंट और प्राइम मिनिस्टर काउंसिल के जो हेडेड डिसीजंस हैं. So there will be again a conflict of interest that will be going. So these were the challenges that were highlighted before the Honorable Supreme Court. Now, how is the solution can be given in this regard? The possible resolutions की बात करें, the Election Commission of India is an important body, right? एक ऐसी important body है जो कि conduct of सारे elections के पूरे इंडिया में जिसका duty है, and it must be free from any kind of political interference, right? So this is important that it should be free from any kind of political to prevent any kind of manipulation in the selections. And the commissions must need the transparency and continuity to its power and to oblige to the Indian Constitution for better functioning. And the recent judgment of the Supreme Court via its plea that was filed before the Honorable Supreme Court is again finding an active judiciary after a long time. This is what you can conclude your answer. Now, moving ahead with the MCQ questions of the day, before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of yesterday's questions. For first question, the correct answer is A. For second question, the correct answer is B. Today's MCQ for practice. The first question of the MCQ, that is Central Bureau of Investigation. You have to consider the statement whether it's a statutory body established under the Special Police Establishment Amendment Act. It's a nodal agency of India which coordinates investigation on behalf of Interpol member countries, and CBI can take suo motu investigation of offences only in the union territories. So do check it out for the correct options. Now the second question of the day, that is consider the following statement about the sugar industries in India. India is the largest producer and exporter of the sugar in the world, and the government of India has encouraged sugar mills to divert sugars for ethanol blending. So you have to check for the correct option, which among the following is correct one. This was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis, followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any other concern, you can reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.